today Iris Kahlil. She is a singer and songwriter and performer in the New Jersey and Philadelphia area. She's been performing for over 10 years, and she is a part of a cover band called Tell Your Friends, and they've been working for about 15 years. Is that correct?
Oh no, so the we Tell All Your Friends has actually only been around for two.
Two. Okay, you've been
hmm
working for over 15 years.
I've been working in the
Wow.
cover band scene for over 15 years, yes.
Okay, that's amazing. That's awesome.
hmm
What other cover bands have you done?
I've done like some top 40 bands, some jazz like cover bands, literally since I was 16. Just
Wow.
been like, and I'm 31 now, so that's why it's just like it literally has been like exactly 15 years. Um, and it's crazy to think because like most of it has always been like the top 40, all the stuff that you would normally expect to hear at like weddings and club venues and like dive bars, like all like the little like, the classic staples and all that stuff, like you would hear that essentially. That's what I've been a part of for the longest time, up until Tell All Your Friends, which is an emo night, punk, metal, like just all the just alternative shit. So it's fun. Wait, am I allowed to curse on here? I should have
Absolutely.
asked that.
No, you're good. You're good. As long as I'll cut this part out, but as long as you're not drawing like hardcore C word or like,
Yeah,
anything that I'm perfectly okay with that.
got you.
No,
I meant to ask that beforehand. But
no, you're good. You're
but
good.
yeah, it's been such a fun journey being a part of Tell All Your Friends uh and just being allowed to just continue to create and everything and be here. So,
That's
yeah.
that's awesome. Could you elaborate a little bit more about your career and what else you've done?
Yeah, so let's see, where to start? So funnily enough, I've always like worked behind the scenes. I've always been the person that would be in the studio with a bunch of other songwriters, a bunch of other producers, that would help like create beats, create hooks for other artists. And a lot of that actually was because of my brother. I have an older brother that's also been out in the music scene. He went by Logic the Beat Man. Like he was a huge producer like in the Philly like hip hop scene and everything, and he always like brought me along and everything because he saw that I had like some musical like stuff and everything that I was developing, and so he decided to take me under his wing, or kind of to a degree I kind of like forced myself in there a little bit, but like but it allowed me to kind of, because I was a minor, um I didn't have like all of my stuff necessarily being like credited. It was all basically like under his name and everything, but it was solely for my protection. So
Of
that way
course.
that energy didn't focus on me, but I would still get credited and everything like that later on. And those who were in the studio working behind the scenes and stuff would also like take heed when they see that like they bring me in and they're just like, who is this person that's like coming in here? And then they hear the chords, they hear like the songwriting, they hear the voice, and then they're like, oh, that's the secret weapon, as they like to call it, or something. It was so funny. but but it's because of those things, because of like those, and on top of being in the arts like my entire life, and my family is even surrounded by it too. My mom's also a singer. She sings mostly like in a church, and my dad was a DJ throughout like the 80s and the 90s and 2000s. I mean, he'll still DJ and stuff like that from time to time today,
Oh, that's
but he
awesome.
was like doing vinyls and stuff. And my grandmother also sings as well, and so it's like very much so. My family is very much like music, the arts, has a huge appreciation for it. It's very, and so it kind of just was like just poured into me the entire time, and so it was like when they realized that music was what I wanted to do full time and everything, they were like not surprised, but they also knew the level of commitment and sacrifice that it takes in order to be like in this business essentially and be successful.
Wow, very nice. So you come from an exceptionally long line of singers then.
Kind of, I guess so, if you want to put it that way. That's
So
certainly one way to put it. It's I will admit it's very weird to talk about this like in real time, like really like reflecting on it like this and not internally just letting it out. I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
this is almost kind of like a therapy session, right?
Almost like a therapy session, but it's yeah, it's just continuing to be humbling. That's all. Don't mind me.
That's a good way to put it. That is a good way to put it. One thing I've come to love about these podcasts is you never know who you're gonna talk to, and you never know who you're gonna get to know. Especially like working with talent. You worked on a song for us titled Apocalypse,
Mhm.
and it is going to be featured in our web series called The Other Side. That's our friend Spencer had the opportunity to work on as well as you. If you would mind me asking, what inspires you for your music? Like when you're looking for lyrics and when you're looking for the beat and the rhythm, what inspires you for all of that?
Ooh, I would say it's a combination of a lot of things. A combination of my own lived experience. Um, yeah, a combination of my own lived experience, as well as stories from my friends, my loved ones, my family, my chosen family. Um, Everything that like goes on like outside of it and everything is just like any like emotions that like I feel or that others that have like told me about that they feel and everything. It's like I want to be able to kind of like be able to use it as I'm trying to find my words here.
Take your time.
It's a great question, by the way. So, um, yeah, it's literally just like lived experiences and the stories that just people like share with me and that they're willing to share with me. Um, and knowing that like I write and everything as well. Sometimes they'll even come like sometimes people like my set friends and people who trust me and everything will come to me and like ask me like, hey, these are like these emotions that I'm feeling. Like, can you like write this into something? And sometimes it literally it depends on the situation, but more often than not, I just kind of just go off of what emotion do I want to portray when I'm writing and when I'm like musically as well. Like if I want it to be like something happy, then like, I might think of something like a dance record or something like that. Um, if I wanted to portray something a little bit more like somber or more bittersweet, I might slow it down a little bit or just base it like off of that emotion. So, and sometimes it can even just be something as simple as, oh, I have a catchy melody that just popped up in my head, and then eventually the words form from that way too. So it's like there's so many different angles that like it kind of pops in for me. Um, but the main thing is just being making sure that no matter what that that the whatever I write and whatever I'm creating reflects the emotion that I want to portray.
That's awesome. I think that is the best way to go about it instead of like being what's the word? Generic, I think the word is, instead of just being like a simple, write a lyric down. I think it truly matters what you feel that goes into the music because music is such a powerfully emotional thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I've
I
been
agree.
to I've been to so many concerts and so many events, and the one thing that everybody connects on is music. It doesn't matter who you are, what your belief is, what you're doing. If you love a song, if a group of people is at a bar or at a concert hall or something like that, and they hear a song that they love, they're gonna enjoy it. It doesn't matter how you're
Exactly.
performing it, as long as your emotions are in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the best way to go about coming up with inspiration. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. And
Right.
I totally want to co-sign on that too, as far as what you said, because like even like in my own lived experience, it's kind of funny because I'm like I've even had it to where people who would not take very kindly to a person like me, seeing would watch like literally see me perform, or would just initially look at me and just be like, oh, like what is that? What is going on? All this kind of all this kind of BS. But then they see me perform, and then after the performance, they're coming up to me and just being like, oh, this was incredible. You were amazing. Like, this music is like incredible. You guys doing such an amazing job. Like, and it's so true that it's just like that to me. Like, music is just like, it breaks boundaries. Like, it tears down walls, and it really moves people because it is emotional. And like, it can be both very like it's moving, it's powerful, it's healing, it's all of those things, and how it transpires and how it resonates with people is always different for each individual.
Absolutely. And it resonates deep within you. Like you might not hear a song for 10 years, but then you hear it on the radio and you still automatically know the lyrics. You automatically know the chorus. You know the beat, you know the rhythm, and you're just gonna dance to it. You're just gonna have fun.
Exactly.
Um, and it's such a shame that people are quick to judge based on looks and not based on talent. It's really a shame because you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. You should absolutely get to know the artist before you make a decision or an assumption of who they are,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
With that said, what kind of hardships like we discussed making our song Apocalypse um as a LGBT community tribute.
Hmm.
Um what hardships have you gone through, if you don't mind me saying, being a transgender woman yourself, what hardships have you gone through, in terms of that with your shows, with your performances?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, it's kind of nuanced because on one hand, it's like you you definitely deal with a lot of like transphobic rhetoric and stuff like that from time to time, but also because of the fact that um I am a person of color, specifically like I'm black and Hispanic, and so there's also a lot of like I also basically essentially also deal with like racism on top of that too. On one hand, it's like it's either I'm dealing with the one or dealing with the other, and it normally just depends on like what scene I'm in, honestly. Uh, and it's more often than not, what ends up happening is that I'm just like, once I enter in those spaces and everything, while there might be some initial bigotry, racism, BS, just nonsense over there, at the end of the night, and especially when we come back, like when I come back to those areas again, it's nothing but love. It's nothing but just like welcoming space and everything because I'm like, that's what I do my best to bring. Because I spent years figuring out who I am. Now that I know who I am, I know what it looks like, I know what's up. Nobody can tell me otherwise. No one's going to tell me different. I'm like, just because they might think they know something better about me, the only person who has to deal with this every single day is me.
Of course.
And I have to be the one that's comfortable with sleeping at night, knowing on the things that I've done and the things that I move around and navigate, and as far as how I take care of myself. And so it's why I present the way that I do today.
I
So,
what were we gonna say?
oh no, that was essentially it.
I think that's a very healthy outlook and a very mature way of handling it. You can't really, I mean, yeah, you have to focus on your surroundings and be safe and everything like that,
Of course.
but you can't spiral into what somebody else thinks because that's eventually going to destroy you.
Yeah.
You have to be okay with you, and that is the best outlook that you can do.
It definitely took me a while to get there though. Let's I do want to acknowledge that that does take a lot of work to be secure in yourself, especially when it's like you're trans and you're dealing with things like dysphoria and seeing other trans people have the things that you, for lack of a better word, essentially envy or just like covet or desire so deeply, and it's just like, but there's not going to be another you. Like
Absolutely.
there will never be another Sean. There will never be another Iris. There will never be, like another person that's out there and everything. It's like, so you have to look in the mirror and like what you see. And if you don't, then taking that time as far as and putting in that work as far as with whatever that entails as far as with just healthy coping mechanisms, you know, getting yourself like on like HRT or anything like that, or even just socially transitioning to where like you're presenting yourself in a way that is true to who you are. Those little things will allow that confidence to just overflow, and when you can just carry yourself in that way and you carry yourself in that light, everyone else is going to be able to see that, and everyone else is going to literally want to also spread light as well. So at least that's how it's been for me.
And that's so true. Like, let me put it to you like this. I will never understand what Iris goes through. I will
Hmm.
never understand that, and I won't pretend to understand that, right? But
Hmm.
I will absolutely 100% support it 100%, you know? And the biggest thing that I've learned about myself is I used to be like so shy and so like antisocial that you would never see me doing anything like these podcasts like a year or two ago. Nothing. You
Hmm.
would never see me doing that. It took finding out what was comfortable for myself. It took finding out what was helpful, and the support group that I have now to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Um, Granted, these are two completely different journeys between Iris and Sean,
Hmm.
but the message for other people out there who are looking to get into themselves and looking to get into who they want to become, it stands out that as long as you are happy with yourself and as long as you do the work, you can overcome anything. You absolutely can. And I think the way you did it, phenomenal. You did it 100% beautifully.
Thank you.
Course. So we talked about a little bit earlier how our song Apocalypse is going to be a tribute to the LGBT community and how it stands out in the world today. If I could ask you, what inspired you for those lyrics? What inspired you for
Ooh.
Apocalypse?
Well, um, it was a combination of a lot of things. Um, I know when we discussed about like wanting to like about the feelings that we wanted to portray and everything, as far as with just like it's like it's the end of the world, and like and wanting to like overcome those things and everything. I also looked at it in a sense too that it was just like just where things are socially, where things are like financially, but also even in just a very personal sense too, that I'm like it's even though like our intention like was to like write it like for the LGBTQ community and everything, there was also that intention that I was writing it from the perspective that I'm just like everyone has felt betrayed at some point in their lives. Everyone has felt betrayed, whether it be in like a platonic sense, a romantic sense, a financial stance, a political stance. It's there's always been that there's always like someone at least if you live long when you live long enough you'll experience what betrayal is like at some point,
Yes.
unfortunately. um and that was kind of one of that feeling that I wanted to portray. And I know a lot of the senses like people always want like people normally when they express feelings of betrayal, it is normally through like anger and being loud and all that stuff, but I wanted to reflect a sense of a slightly like a quieter voice that builds up internally, that has this resolve, that's just like, if things don't change, that this is what's going to happen. And it's coming from a much more grounded space, instead of just being like, oh, you did me so dirty, you did me like this kind of thing, how dare you make me feel these things. And it's just like, which is valid in of itself, I want to be very clear on that, because I've definitely written stuff like that before. So but I wanted to kind of have a different perspective on it, a different take on it, that basically just feels more secure, a little more like I said, a little more secure, a little more grounded, and just being like, yeah, these things happen. You played me like you played us like a fool. You made us believe that these things were happening, and you made these promises that a lot of people did not keep.
Yes.
And even in that regard and everything too, there's just like, all right, well, here's the thing. Here are all the facts of what happened. And this is what's going to happen if you don't change, essentially. So it was just kind of having just like this very grounded stance that I just wanted to have on it and everything. Because I feel like that speaks just as much volume as, screaming it loudly from the rooftops of just being like, this is effed up, and people are being awful to each other and everything like that. And I just wanted to have it to where again, it's like, absolutely valid. Let's also add this context to it as well.
I like that. It's 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 such a shame of how much socially and politically and, like you said, financially unrest is going on in the world today. I never want to make my show about politics, but sometimes
Mhm.
you have to. Sometimes you have to talk about it. Especially when it affects the people that you know, especially when it affects the people that surround you and loves you, especially when you're trying to love yourself in either a new way, an old way, or a healing way. It's
Yeah.
such a shame of the way that the state of the world is in, and it's not just in one place or other. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's absolutely insane. And I think this song, I think it's a powerful song, that truly showcases the raw emotion that people feel at this time.
Hmm.
Um, With that said, ladies and gentlemen, Iris is going to play a acoustic version of Apocalypse. If you could give that like a thumbs up, if you could comment how much she sounds good and how hard she worked on this song, that would be great. Without further ado, Iris, whenever you're ready.
After I get a sip of water. So,
Stay hydrated, folks. It's hot out there today.
oh my God, yes, it is. Not as it was last week, though.
No.
Last week was evil,
It
evil
was
incarnate,
it was bad. It was brutal.
borderline homophobic, if you would. Like,
It was God. It was so hot. It just felt like it was attacking all of us.
literally. All right.
Whenever
Whew.
you're ready.
Yes. You said that you loved me. Was it all a lie? When you said that you needed me, was it just stolen for time? It was so convincing, your little fantasy. So many little promises you know you would never keep. Well, I tried to tell you the truth on how this would hurt me, but you didn't care. And now that you have your vision, won't listen to reason when I call out your name. Ooh. destroy the flowers, you ignore the signs. How can life ever thrive in a land that's born to die? Will it be our turn? Simply watch our world burn. Or are you gonna make the shadows eclipse when we're screaming? We don't want the apocalypse. Oh, wanted a resolution, turned to a destitution, then claims of no solution. Now they're screaming revolution. Let it a resolution, turned to a destitution, then claims of no solution. Now they're screaming revolution.
Very nice.
Thank you.
What is the difference between working with, I guess, the studio made version versus the acoustic version? What's the difference for you on that?
I feel like with just playing it like the I guess the acoustic version and everything, it I feel like I can really take my time with the lyrics and have it really be heard a little bit more. Where as opposed to the studio version, that one it's like I can kind of belt it out a little bit more, and add different like textures and harmonies that kind of help to convey the emotion a little bit more. Both definitely have. I definitely enjoy both versions, honestly. I enjoy being able to slow it down and be able to just like play it and really feel out the lyrics and everything, as opposed to like doing the pseudo version where you can do multiple different takes and be like, oh, I don't like this take. Let's do it differently, add different textures and everything like that. It's like with this one, it's just like it's like that one has a little more polish to it. The recorded version has a little more polish to it, as opposed to the acoustic version, which is a little more raw.
Of course.
So, and both have a place in it. So,
Of course. I definitely can understand why you would prefer to have an acoustic version here versus the studio version on here, because I definitely feel certain sounds would be hindered in a sense, I guess the word would be.
hmm
Um Whereas with the acoustic version you can be more yourself.
yeah.
So well, Iris, I would love to continue this talk, but unfortunately, we are out of time for today. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, if you can give Iris a thumbs up and a comment on her music, she is on Instagram,
hmm
Facebook.
Yes, I am
And
on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you
yeah,
want to check out the music I have on there as well,
yeah.
um, yeah.
You got it. You heard her right there. She's on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Music. So give her a follow, give her a listen, and come back October 22nd when her single drops on iTunes, Spotify, and all the streaming platforms, as well as October 24th in our web series, The Other Side. So be sure to check us out soon. Iris, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your
Bye.
day.
You too. Bye.